Welcome to Sage Sisters. We are sisters, besties, moms, and co-founders having a fun catch-up on parenting and life.
Hi, welcome back. I'm Ann.
And I'm Kate. What up, Tan Ann? How's it going?
It's going good. We are in the 4-day holiday of midwinter break that didn't ever exist until this particular year.
It's like, I'm not mad about President's Day. Oh, maybe I am, actually. It's like, what is that? But then you add a day?
Yeah,
You guilty animal. It's like,
And
we have
you're-
Tuesday off for a work day. I'm like, give me a fucking break.
And you and I are off because you're Monday, Tuesday. I was Friday, Monday. So you and I have already been bickering about when we can podcast, when we can get our work calls in because we have opposite schedules with the kids home.
Yeah.
Anyway, so, we had the parents come down this weekend, though, which was so nice. So they
That's
stayed
nice.
for a couple days and we had a great time. So it was really a fun weekend. It's just now that it's Monday and we're trying to work and the kids are home, we're just feeling a little bit of that, like, tension.
Well, and out here in Northern California, a lot of people hit Tahoe or go
Yeah.
on a ski trip for this
Yeah.
4-day weekend, which does look nice all over my Instagram. But I'm a little bit like, kind of glad we're just holed
Not
up.
traveling.
No.
I
don't know.
agree.
Maybe I'm at that stage in my life where it's like cool vacations actually look worse. I'm like, nah, I'm good. I'm good.
We did that thing last week that was like, take the trip because they actually do remember it. So it is true. But we have spring break coming up and we're already doing something for spring break. So this felt forced. It's like, I don't need to go anywhere for this. Let's just bring the fun to us. And honestly, Ace had like a basketball tournament this weekend and it was cute and they played well. And, so we like his basketball team was around. So we've had some fun things, but
That's good. How was the parent visit?
great, actually. They stayed a couple days, which is nice. I always joke with them because we moved closer to them. I mean, we're still 2 hours away, but we moved closer, like not a plane ride away.
That 2-hour estimate is the most Ann thing ever. It's 3.
It's 3, but 2 hours, 45 minutes, but it's 2-ish hours.
Ish.
But anyways, because it's somewhat close, they'll do day trips or they'll go back the next day. And mom doesn't want to overstay her welcome. And I'm like, no, please stay. Like you could stay forever. Like, and this time it was like a really good balance. They stayed for a few days. They had a great time with the kids. So
Good.
yeah, feeling all the feels. How was your vibe over there?
Good vibes. I think because I had traveled last week, I know my kids hadn't. I was just exhausted. I also think, I don't want to say it out loud and make it true, but we were on the brink of getting a cold. Like I've been taking emergency like every day for the
You
last
think it's
couple
working?
days. It's working.
Good.
I think the mouth tape, the emergency, and the mental fortitude to not accept it is helping.
Yeah.
Sometimes there's nothing you can do. But both Grace and I had like a tickle in our throat. We kind of woke up with the and we had a chat and we said, we're not accepting this. We're sending it right back.
You're giving me the like joke of our family with Phil because Phil always is like, it's all mental. When I'm sick or the kids are sick, it's mental. And then of course he goes down a few days later and it's not necessarily mental anymore.
I know, but we've totally lucked out. I can't believe I'm saying this out loud. We're gonna have influenza A next week for sure after saying this.
Yeah,
but
knock on wood quickly.
You guys and Sarah's family had norovirus over the break.
Yeah, you didn't.
There's been a horrible flu going around the school.
Yeah.
There's been like a 3-week, 4-week cough thing that everyone's complaining about. There's like been emails about attendance is down because everybody's sick.
Yeah.
Dirkson's strong.
Dirkson's strong. It's all mental, baby. It's all mental.
It's all mental. Just ask Bill. All right, cool. What's your high?
My high has a little bit of this weekend into it, which is on Friday when school was out. The parents were down here and we went to kind of this indoor, they call it the factory, but there's shops, there's food, there's different things to do. And so it's been really cold again here. And so we went indoors and it was great. We had like almost like a food court lunch and then we went and did painting, like pottery. I blow so much money on this painting pottery when it's cold and rainy.
Is yours called Color Me Mine or is there a different version?
It's different, but it's like exactly the same thing. But it was cute. And this time, Lily, all 3 kids, their attention span was awesome. They were quiet. They were into it. Lily like spent so much time in detail. I thought I was going to have to basically do it for her. Nope. Yeah. She walked right in, knew what she wanted to paint. It was a little unicorn.
I love her attitude. She's like,
yeah, she's
third kid energy. Got it.
100%.
Got it.
will be all gray. I mean, she did so many colors that just kept going. It will be one gross color, but it was perfect.
I can't
So-
wait till the background of your bookshelves slowly just becomes a Color Me Mine
Well-
pottery house.
We were ready to go back because I started to pull them and like I started to throw some away from
Yeah.
like last year's endeavors. We were up to so many. And Phil's office, poor Phil's office kept getting got with them, you know? It's like, where do we put it? Put it on dad's shelf, you know?
Well, you have to do a rotation. The new one
Yeah.
replaces the old one.
Yeah. So we out with the old, we'll get some new ones in. But it was cute and the parents had a good time. And
I will say, if I take Grace alone, that girl can spend 4 hours on a
Yeah.
plate or a cup or something.
Yeah.
And we keep them. So I'm like, it's not bad. But when Cal's there, he can't. I mean, attention span for him is more like 1 hour.
yeah.
We get a good hour, but after that, he's like, we got to go. And then Grace is like, just starting. And
Yeah.
it's like,
she wanted more
they're-
time.
they're
Well,
not aligned. So I got to do that separately.
we were about an hour, but the kids were all on the same page. So it was good.
Great.
What's your high this week?
Well, Valentine's Day was Friday, and Thursday night about 8 p.m. I realized, oh crap, I have planned and thought of this zero.
Yeah.
And on any dimension, from
No
parent
one is
dimension.
surprised. If they've been listening to this podcast, no one is surprised by this news.
I know, I'm sure. Pick your jaws up off the ground. So 8 p.m. Haven't thought about it from a wife perspective or a parent perspective. I was like, oh, geez. And then I was like, what do people do? Like, I was trying to think back. I think mom gave us like a little something in the morning.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I hit up Amazon. What can deliver overnight, between 4 and 8 a.m.
Yeah.
And I was just praying. It was on, because they go to school at 7:40. So I'm like, the odds are in my favor that these gifts will arrive. So then ordered some stuff for morning delivery.
It
The kid-
arrived.
the kids
Never
come in.
before 7:40 has Amazon arrived for me.
So the kids come in. I didn't have time to like make it cute and set it out.
Yeah.
Because I like got up, looked, 7, still not there, starting to bite my nails. Like, oh
Did
God.
they go to the front door and open the box themselves? Is it like that energy?
Okay, so they came into my room. What I did brilliantly, if I do say so myself,
Mhm.
was the storytelling. So the kids come in, happy Valentine's Day, lots of snuggles and kisses. And they were like, is there anything special for Valentine's Day? And I was like, well, you lucked out because originally I forgot. Like
You said that? Or?
Yeah, I said I did not have anything planned and it wasn't looking good for you. But then at the last minute, I ordered stuff on Amazon. And there's a package on the front porch. And they like screamed. They went on the emotional journey with me.
I was anticipating like a better story. I gotta be honest. I thought Cupid was going to be in it. Like Cupid said last night that he gave a gift. Like that
No,
was
I made
baloney.
him, when I retold it there, I didn't do it. I made him think there was nothing.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? I
You
said,
broke their
"Ugh."
hearts only to lift them up.
Exactly. I said, I've been busy. I just forgot.
Yeah.
I made him feel all horrible for like a good 30 seconds.
It was a
And
strategic
then-
coaching move. Break them down, build them up.
Exactly. So that's what I nailed about the storytelling.
Okay.
So then they were thrilled to run outside and rip open the Amazon package to get their Valentine's. So there you go. Expert parenting 101.
well,
And then,
we are,
I see all over my Instagram, everyone else says, over the top, heart pancakes, balloons, all
Yeah.
the things. I was like,
that
"Oh,
was our house. And
you
of
would.
course-
You would.
of course. And it did extend. Phil was kind of rolling his eyes at me this time because it extended a few days because Lola's party was on Wednesday. But I got her an outfit that she wanted to wear. So I let her have a little gift early. Then Aces was on Thursday. Then Valentine's Day was on Friday.
Now, were you just crushing that Target, beginning part?
I
Or
did
what's your...
This is what happened. 2 weeks ago when I had to come out to San Francisco, I went to Target and I was panicked about Valentine's, all this stuff. So I got a bunch of stuff then.
Okay.
Then I did a second layer where I was out with Lily one day and we went over to this cute, more fancy place that's a little more
Then you found some-
expensive.
Yeah.
And I found a couple odds and ends to add to it. But like Lola got these diamond shoelaces. They look like diamonds. I was like, I want these. I can't have them. But like, this is,
Why not?
well, you're right. Maybe I could. But like, it's like, this is so cute for her age. And like, as a kid, that would have been me. So I
Yeah.
had to get them. Like, so
Had
I
to.
added a couple
Had
cute
to.
things in.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well, my kids were thrilled with the Amazon.
Yeah. Good for you.
Yeah. And they're trying to learn Spanish, so they call paquetito, paquetito. Yeah. And then I will say, I usually, this is my year of less. I'm less volunteering, less this. I didn't go on the field trip.
Less
I
gifts,
did
less
less
prep.
gifts.
Yeah.
And I don't want to even claim like I'm playing this because I was going to play tennis and then my match got rained out. But I ended up going to their Valentine's Day parties at their school.
Yeah. Perfect.
Popped by, surprised them. They didn't think I was going.
Yeah.
Then I went again. It's
Another
all about how you sell.
disappointment.
Now I'm reflecting on this. But the surprise element, I thought, made it seem more special.
Yeah. I hear you. I like that.
So anyways, I got some time in the class and I was talking to like some of my friends that have older kids and they were like, yeah, it's only lasts a couple more years. Like you're on the
Totally.
tail end of it. So like, I miss it so much. Like I wish I could go in, but like my 7th grade daughter would die if I came into her class for Valentine's party.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I was like, you know what? Let me take the time off of work, even if there's a lot going on. Do the kids' party at school. It was very cute.
Well, good. You ended on a great note.
Ended on a high. What's your low?
My
Speaking
low.
of, I should have done low high to keep the theme here today. I see.
It's true. Break us down and then build us up. I wasn't sure where you were going with that one, to be honest. So it kept us on our toes.
Okay, what's your low?
My low is we went out and had so much fun with some parents from the basketball team. So after the tournament that night, we had all planned to go out, kidless, dinner. It was awesome.
This is Ace's team?
Yeah. Love these parents. We had so much fun. But my low is we were at this really nice restaurant and there's 5 couples. So it was 10 people.
No kids?
No kids, but 10 people. And we were just having fun. Like not too, like we're just laughing, but like, talking. 5 people. And in this room, I guess there was some like carryover of Valentine's people having their Valentine's dinner on Saturday. So there was like some couples around us. And an old Karen over there with her husband complained that we were too loud.
What?
And we're just like in a restaurant. It's all one room. So, and I'm telling you, I know like self-awareness. Like we were not being obnoxious. We were just 10 people at a table. Like, you're going to be louder.
Did she specifically make eye contact with you when she said this?
No, but I made eye contact with her and she looked up and was kind of sheepish. She was like, she saw I was looking at her as she was complaining and I like had eyes on her and I was like, oh no. And so anyways, the general manager though is who made me so angry. She handled it so poorly. She came over and instead of keeping 5 couples happy who are really spending a lot of money, we had cocktails, we had apps, we had all the things. Like it was a big bill. She proceeds to come over and be like, in a way that was really obnoxious, like, you guys are being too loud, you're disruptive, like, almost kicked us out type of vibes.
I wish
and she came over once, and I was like, I'm going to let that slide. She came over twice to say it again, and the waiter was like, no, you guys are great, like, please keep buying stuff, like, and so we said, we'll pay the bill. The guys went to the bar next door. We left. And
before dinner?
Well, no, we had dinner, but like this is like we could have ordered other stuff. Like we could have sat there longer.
Yeah, they pissed you off.
They pissed us off. And I said, I pulled an absolute Cindy, our mom who holds a grudge forever. I will never go back to that establishment ever.
You said it to their face, or you just said it to yourself?
I said it to all the people around me who were my friends, and I'm saying it here. I will never go back. And if you live in Franklin and you want to know who it is, you text me. I'm not going to say it here, but I was so upset. And I literally, of course, you know me. I was like, I'm not going to say anything because we had some cocktails. No one's going to take you seriously if you have cocktails. I said, but I will write an email. I will write an email this week.
Did you?
I haven't yet, but I'm thinking about it.
There we go. You know what vibe this is giving me? Do you remember when you visited me when I lived in New York?
Yes. Yes.
We had a bottle at some place.
Yeah, we were younger. We were to a club. We were
bottle service.
Bottle service.
And we had our purses and coats sort of like tucked back in the table.
Yeah.
And we were dancing, I thought, right in front, but who knows? There were bottles
we were
involved.
absolutely careless. We were dancing
absolutely
everywhere.
Careless. Okay.
Yeah.
So we come back. First of all, one hilarious note is everything was stolen except for your fake Gucci bag. Like your bag was so bad.
Yeah, I was in college at the time. I was so
like,
broke.
I'm out.
I loved it. It was every bag was taken but mine, which was amazing because I did have a credit card at the time. It was the only thing that could like pay for us to do anything after everybody's stuff got stolen. But then it got cut off because I like the bank didn't know I was in New York and they stopped payment.
Oh my God, hilarious.
But
then someone came up to me and said, I'm pretty sure it was the guy that was working here. He had a backpack and he was like lurking around your area.
Yeah, the security guy.
The security guy.
Mm-hmm.
Like another girl came up to me. She's like, I'm pretty sure it was that guy. And she like pointed to him. So I went to the manager, or went up to the bar. I said, can I speak to the manager? I said, someone thinks that one of your security people might have taken our stuff. It was in there. Would you mind?
Do you think you said it that calmly, though? Because we had a lot of alcohol in us.
I think so. In my, well, here's how it ended. So you decide.
Well, yeah.
He basically said, don't accuse my team of anything. Da, 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 da. And I said, just check. If I'm wrong, I apologize. But like, all our stuff got stolen in your place. And anyways, he accused us of being careless.
You wouldn't drop it. We dragged you out. We dragged you out.
Well, no, I got kicked out. I got kicked out.
Yes, but do you remember it was, I think Sarah and I, our other sister, dragging you out by your armpits and you're yelling, I will bring this establishment to its knees.
Exactly.
Yeah. And we were all like, okay, we're good here. We're good here. So there's a couple things that I took away. One, I wasn't going to pull that the night of. I'm going to write an email because I remember this.
You shut up.
Two, always carry a cheap bag because it's not going to get stolen.
Well, you were the only one who had enough to get us out of there. Hilarious.
Yeah. Anyways, it had that energy. I was very upset just
Well, I hope you take that establishment to its knees.
I will. Well, and it's also like, it's just unnecessary to handle it that way. Tell us we're being too loud, but I was in the restaurant business for a while. Be like, hey, we'll pay for your dessert. Sorry, we're getting some complaints. You guys mind being quieter. End of story. We would have gladly accepted that and tried to be quiet.
Mm-hmm.
The way she took us down was like, no thanks.
Did Karen have like a stacked bob, just
she
like I'm picturing?
She had a Karen haircut.
Karen,
her husband was so quiet. You could tell that he was embarrassed.
He wanted to die inside.
Yeah. He did. So
poor Bob.
Anyways,
poor Bob.
Bob was very upset.
Bob's
I don't think their Valentine's dinner ended on a high note. I'm going to say that.
No. Well,
anyways,
karma.
What's your low? We took that one too far.
I'm just still laughing at that. Okay. I just had a bit of a like lazy blob week. I traveled. You totally get off your schedule when you travel. I worked out exactly 0 while I traveled. I ate exactly everything while I traveled.
Yes.
I got back, and then we've had so much rain here in Northern California. So it was just like I was supposed to have a tennis match. Canceled. Could I have gone to the gym to make up for that workout? You better believe it. Did I? No, I did not. I had a ton of work from the, I just like... Mm-hmm. And then I love my husband so much, but when it gets rainy, he wants to make these meals that are like a cozy pasta.
Yeah. I kind of like that though, but I understand when you're trying to get back on track. Yeah,
I did. Listen, on my third helping, I wasn't mad. But I just then later, and I don't know, maybe I'm about to start or something, but just the whole week, I just felt like an absolute blob. And then we have an event Saturday night, which I was looking forward to. It was a crab feed with friends in the city that we do once a year.
Yeah.
And everybody gets kind of dressed up. So anyways, I had this one dress I was going to wear. Anyways, I put it on. I mean, it couldn't have been a harder no. Like, so then, it's like I was running late. I didn't plan enough time to get ready. I was doing that thing you do in your closet where you're like, nope, next, put it on. Oh, next. And it was just, and then I went out looking like a business lady to a friend dinner. It was horrible.
Worst ever is when you go to your business clothes and you're like, this is where I'm at right now.
This is where I'm at.
The worst.
It's the only thing that's comfortable.
Listen, I don't want to add on to this, but our mom dresses well. So this is not necessarily a total dig. She's a very good dresser. But you came onto this podcast right now and I said to you before we started recording, you are wearing exactly what mom had on before she left.
Okay.
It looks good. She looked good. You look good, but it made me giggle that you.
She loves a collar that stands up.
Mm-hmm.
But as I age, I'm sort of like, she ain't wrong.
No, pop collar looks good.
And I have tennis right after this. Trying to get back on the horse this week.
Yeah.
So I'm going like straight from here over there. And I was just like, you know what? If Alex Cooper can wear like a cute hoodie.
Yeah. So
I think I can wear less than a cute hoodie and bad makeup. Like, let's go.
I agree.
Live my life.
I agree. You're here.
All right.
Well, keeping to your tennis time, I guess we should get to the topic.
Yeah, chop. What do you got for us as you're up?
My topic this week is, so we have an older sister, we've said Sarah, and she's got older girls. And we have kind of been talking to her a little bit about sometimes we get going on a topic and it kind of can be more elementary school. So I thought today we could bring in a little bit more of the tween energy.
Yeah.
And, you know, our older kids are starting to show signs of this anyway, so it really blends. But the whole idea is
tween teen.
tween teen kind of combination.
Okay.
But like school struggles, that tween sass, all like the little attitudes they're bringing in, kind of like the ultimate survival guide of the parent for these things going on that are a little bit of that tween energy.
Mm-hmm.
So
one of my favorite parts of the last couple of years was when we were thinking about starting a business together. The first thing we did is we interviewed gobs of people. Felt like we literally spent a year interviewing people.
Yeah.
But I talked to so many moms with teenagers to get their perspective. And I would even venture to say at the beginning, I was thinking that we would ultimately like build something for high school, late middle, like when the problems of social media get like so incredible. So we interviewed a lot of parents with kids that age. So I feel like I had a lot of preconceived notions, but then I feel like I got so many data points through that work.
Same. And a lot of my friends' kids are older, like that live around here. So we have a lot of these stories coming our way from friends and things. And also, again, I repeat, we have kids that are doing the tween attitudes already. So I think it's perfect.
Yeah. So let's start with our own kids first.
Yeah. Okay.
How is the sass / tween energy showing up? Is it both of your older two or?
Mostly my daughter, but it's interesting because I have a boy who is a little bit older and then a girl and then another little girl. But Lola is very sassy and she does hang out with our older cousins. She hangs out with older people in the neighborhood, but her sass is a little bit more of that traditional sass.
Yeah.
You know, Ace is a little bit like, he just gets like a frustrated boy, you know, he's quick tempered. You know, and then he kind of like lashes out. And it's like, I just want him to be more respectful. But Lola's is full on sass. Eye roll, hair flip, slam the door type of vibes. Like, and it's coming in hard. And what I'm a little bit like struggling with is, you know, we handle it under the house. You know, we don't let it happen. We always have like, you know, you get in trouble if you act like that. But I know she's doing this outside. And she's starting to have troubles that are bad.
Friendship struggles.
And it's because she's sassy. And I'm like, your friends aren't going to like you being sassy either. So like, how do we nip this in the bud right away? So that's my struggle. Are you seeing that with your kids?
So Grace, who is just over 8.5, I'm starting to see the beginning of just like, tween energy. And this is everything from like, gosh, mom, and like slams the door. Yeah. And I got her foolishly when it was cute when she was like 6, something from her door that says Grace's room on one side and keep out on the other side.
Yeah. Mistakes
so she'll
were
like
made.
real passive aggressively flip it to keep out while like making eye contact with me and then like shut it.
So how do you and Chris handle it though? How are you handling the sass to shut it down a little bit?
So I think for me, it's sort of like a certain amount of it, I just let it slide right off.
You do? Okay.
Yeah. I mean, she's a pretty good kid overall. She's like pretty respectful, pretty responsible. I don't think it's dripping into too much sass to her teachers. Yeah. It's just, mostly with me.
The mom gets it the most, for sure.
The mom gets it the most. So I kind of have like a level that I'll accept and a level that crosses my boundary.
When it crosses, what do you do? Do you have a thing you do when it crosses?
Well, I'm trying to just talk through it with her.
Okay.
And I try to use the language that, I use. So I took this class when I was getting my MBA, and it was like, I don't think it was the official name, but everybody called it touchy-feely. But when you do...
I don't like that at all.
It does sound creepy now that I'm saying it. It was all about interpersonal dynamics. And
Okay.
like one of the major tenets of it is like, well, when you do this, it makes me feel like this.
Mhm.
Right. And I'm trying to model that for her so that she uses that language.
Okay.
And I try to call out I call it dramatic language. So when she's like, you never do that.
Yeah.
Or like,
Nobody loves me. Yeah.
you always favor Calvin. You
Mhm.
never, I'll say, that sounds like dramatic language to me.
Yeah.
And so calling it out is one thing that I do. And then if it reaches my boundary, I let her cool all the way down. So like
Mhm.
having that conversation when she's in a heightened
Tizzy.
state, in a
Yeah.
tizzy, nah, not happening. She's also so stubborn that it's just like so ineffective. It's like nothing's getting through. She's super defensive. She's going to defend her choices all the way to the grave. It's like, it's just, that's not going to work. But like, I try to find a moment that's not too far later where I say, hey, can we talk about that?
Mhm.
When you did that, when you slammed your door, when you said that to Calvin, like it hurt his feelings, but it also hurt my feelings a little bit because, this. And right now she will come back to me and like, even if I don't get a full apology because she's so stubborn, I do feel like she's hearing me.
Mhm.
But
Well, I think the space is right because I, in those moments too, want space, right? Like if I'm arguing with Phil or anybody, like an adult, sometimes you need a little space to break and then come back to.
Yeah.
So we do that with Lola too. It's like, hey, go up to your room for a little bit, chill out. Like you need to chill out. And when you're ready to talk or when we're ready to talk, we'll come back together. So I do think space is key. And I think that works for older kids too.
I do too.
Like one of our nieces is always been the sweetest ever. And all of a sudden she's showing signs of tween for sure.
No,
And
she's teen. She's 13.
Oh yeah, teen. But she's, got a little attitude at times, which is kind of funny to see. But it's the same energy as like, it's funny because she wasn't used to doing it and we're not used to it. But it's not funny for
I had
Sarah
dinner
to
with
have
them
to
last
deal with.
week. I had dinner with them last week.
Mhm.
It is funny to witness.
Yeah, I love
If you're not being directed. But one thing that was making me laugh was we were brainstorming about something. I was getting their feedback on something. And every idea that our mom had, Nora shot it down so hard, so fast. It was making me die laughing. She'd be like, no. Like savage.
Yeah.
Like a girl can really like cut you. It wasn't like harsh language. It was just like, oh, that was obviously a horrific idea.
Yeah. Our kids are close to us being embarrassing. We are an embarrassment to them coming up soon. And I'm wondering when that's going to turn officially. But it is interesting to balance.
According to my interviews, according to all these people I interviewed, for girls, most of the time that transition was happening at 9 or 10.
Yeah, middle schoolish.
It's not middle school. It's 3rd or 4th grade.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah. It's sooner than you think. And psychologically, that's the age where parents become less important and friendships, social currency becomes way more important. So it makes sense that that's when all of a sudden your parents are embarrassing. All of a sudden, like none of your ideas are good. Like, God, like you're socially killing me, Mom, because I don't have a phone.
Yeah.
All of that kicks in super aggressively then.
Yeah.
And continues.
Well, I think the thing is hold the line, right? You're going to be embarrassing no matter what. So like hold the line of whatever it is. If it's waiting to give them a phone, if it's waiting to give them social media, which we obviously are encouraging, like hold the line because you're going to be embarrassing no matter what. That's the take I say.
Yeah, I just think I can kind of understand and like see it coming where it's one thing if they still like you and they can be mad at you for a second, but then they come back and you can reconnect to that same degree.
Yeah.
I can imagine it being harder when she eye rolls, but then she doesn't kind of come back and reconnect. And I just have to kind of sit there with that distance.
Yeah.
I think that's when it gets hard. And I honestly think that's when a lot of people's boundaries start to cave. Because you start going, I miss that connection. I don't want to be the reason, me saying no to social media. I don't want that to be the reason why we're not close friends or whatever.
Right. Yeah.
And I think that's when it just like becomes so important that you kind of go, you're not supposed to be best friends. You're supposed to be their parent.
Yeah.
It's like, it tests every like fiber of your being though, to like hold those boundaries.
Yeah. It's hard for sure. Yeah. Well, other struggles, the Sass is definitely the biggest one. I think that I see with our nieces, with other kids. And I do think it's not just female, but I do think a lot of the girls have that sass more. And again, it just comes out differently when it's a boy. But with that, I do think communication, as much as you can, give some space to breathe and just kind of, to your point, sit with it and be the bad guy at times, because you're going to have to, because I just don't want their sass to continue. But I was very sassy, and it didn't hurt me in my adult life. I eventually stopped being so sassy, but I
just
wasn't
think
listening.
too, when you hold your boundary, just continuing to reiterate, like, I'm doing this because I love you.
Yeah.
You might not see that. I understand that if you disagree. But I'm withholding access to social media because I love you. And I know that's just like not good for you.
Well, and most of the kids in those moments are not going to see that side of it until later. But it always comes back. It's like, it may be in their 20s.
Play the long game. Play the long game.
It's a long game. Play the long game. Yeah.
What is the boy version of that? Like, have you seen it with Ace? Is it just like, does he get physical?
Yeah.
That's my mental model of like, more anger, more
He used to get more physical than he does, but what works for him is getting physical. It's actually like when he starts getting worked up, he needs to do something to get that energy out in a physical way.
Like
that
is,
working through it. That is what we 100% have to do. And I think that carries over to any age. But it's like, whether it be your time is to go outside and get space and play basketball, shoot some hoops outside, or do something, like he needs to do something physical to get that extra anger out. And, again, we're dealing with, and again, it's not just this age. They tend to be more sassy and more anger when they're tired. And, as they're growing, like I can tell when he's going through a growth spurt because he's just a little bit more emotional. And, he needs to just get outside and do some things or be physical in the house. And so we have like a little, upstairs area that he can go hang out. And he can like bounce his ball, do different things, play golf, like a little mini set, like whatever he needs to do, go get some energy out. And he needs to be away from his sisters too. They need individual space.
Yeah.
And so for him, I think it's about space away from any siblings too, and doing something physical.
I do hope that I can keep Cal aware of his feelings, able to talk about his feelings.
Yeah, that's key.
I want to have him have that toolkit, which I feel like is so important. And I think a lot of, maybe it's a stereotype, but like, I think for a long time, parents didn't teach boys about feelings, or everything was, he's a boy, and a whole group of men grew up unable to talk about feelings, unable to even identify how they were feeling.
Right.
And
now the pendulum
like,
is gone like completely the other way too, which is not a bad thing. It's like, you're right though. Like getting them to open up and understand that being emotional and having those feelings and talking about it is a good thing. Got to get it out is key for sure.
Yeah. And I'll be curious to see, like, will he keep coming to me?
Yeah.
And talking about his feelings? Like, I certainly hope so. But time will tell.
Time will tell, but I also think it's individual. I get a lot of information from Ace, and I think that will continue just because it's his personality.
Yeah. What is he talking? Like, will he tell you social dynamics, and will he tell you friendship struggles? And
absolutely. But sometimes it's not a big deal to him. He'll say it in a way that's like not a big deal, but I know it's more of a big deal inside, but he'll say it kind of like casually. But I will say he does talk to Phil more than me about the real deal with like feelings towards the opposite sex. Or,
I can't believe that's starting already, but
I know. But like, he'll talk to him about things that are a little bit more like, hey, this happened to me. Is this all right? Like what, I think I did something wrong. I think I said something too much that might embarrass me. Like with the other, like with a crush he has. And so he does go to Phil with that. And I appreciate them having an open dynamic, but he just talks a lot. He's open with us. And I hope that continues. But he's always been like that from, we've known a lot of stuff going on with him just because he likes to talk.
You want to hear something crazy? You know how a couple weeks ago I was telling you I had a conversation with the kids about safe and unsafe pictures online?
Yeah.
Was that, I forget when I was saying that, but
work related.
Grace came to me last week and said, I don't know if this counts, but should I say it anyways? I was like, of course. Like, what is it? She said, well, a girl on my bus told me that she saw a bunch of naked pictures from
wow.
another boy on the bus.
I mean, this is the time and age, which is absolutely horrifying.
And then I just said, well, did you see anything? Like, did you? And she said, no, but, this other girl was upset about it. And I said, well, why don't you tell that girl to tell her parents? Because, that's exactly what I'm talking about. And thank you so much for telling me. But I was like, here we go. But I was like, honestly, like, great. She said something to me when she wasn't sure, or like, and that's the version now. But it's like, how do we keep those lines of communication open? And especially, they're going to shut down when you're holding boundaries they don't like.
Yeah.
Or
if they think they're going to get in trouble. Like,
right.
If they feel like they were any part of that, or maybe even feeling like they would get in trouble for even seeing them, even though it wasn't necessarily their fault.
Yeah.
That's when they're going to be mum's the word, like not saying anything. But that's why it's like, anytime they come to us where they actually did something wrong and they're in trouble, we really have a calm reaction to say, you're not in trouble because we're having this conversation, but you can't do this again, instead of being like flare up and get crazy.
Yeah.
Because I want them to keep coming to me. So like keeping my cool in those moments so they feel comfortable coming to me.
Yeah.
And then figuring out a way to handle it, because they in some cases they do need to have discipline. But I don't know. The bus is going to get us in trouble and has gotten a lot of kids in trouble, because it's nice in some ways. Socially, it's great for them to figure out how to deal with older kids and different things. But the bus is where a lot of stuff goes down. Like any issues my kids have ever had, it's mostly the bus.
Well, the bus is freaking lawless, because there's one adult whose job it is to get them home safely, not necessarily to like police the back.
Yeah.
But there's also so much research, like when we were researching for our guidebook, that having older friends is actually really healthy. It like helps with resilience. It helps with modeling. But yes, they're going to see and be exposed to a bunch of stuff you don't want. Yeah. But it's also good for them. It's like, oh, that's tricky.
Yeah. Again, open lines of communication and not freaking out when it hits a topic that you're not prepared for. Like if and when Ace comes home with like somebody showed porn or a naked picture, I would be totally shocked if that happened right now, as I'm sure you were with Grace. But it's like just being calm in those moments and handling it is like the right thing.
Yeah, I know. I was trying to decide if I should reach out and try to talk to, I don't know this girl. That's part of it. It's like, I don't have a relationship with her parents.
Right.
Nor do I know, all the details about it.
Right.
I'm getting it sort of third hand.
Yeah.
So hopefully Grace talks to her and
I think that's right.
Through that line of communication. But I was just like, here it goes. Here we go.
Yeah. There is, and I'm not saying in this situation, but there is a line where parents get too involved too. And it's like,
I know.
You don't want to overstep and make something bigger than it was or is. But also in that situation, you need, it like I would want my kid to tell me that happened. So I'm glad Grace gave her that advice, because I think that's the right thing.
Well, and the whole point, especially as these friendships become their most important priority, it's like you want to give them the skills to navigate all the things that they're going to navigate. And to me, the only time parent to school, parent to counselor is appropriate is like if the bullying is intentional.
Yeah.
If the bullying is really harmful, like no kid should have to deal with that on their own.
And that needs to be addressed for sure.
That needs to be addressed. Yeah. But I would say anything shy of that, like, and even I got left out or they didn't invite me to that thing, like that's not the same. That's just kids also not knowing how to work through these issues.
One of the things that's been going on with some of our older, like kid friends, I said that wrong, but our friends who have kids that are a little bit older is, the jump to middle school when they're there, it's like the lunchroom becomes a big thing because kids are able to sit anywhere and they don't have to sit with their class. And it becomes more of these segregated, you can start to see the groups of people, and that's when people start to feel left out. So they've started this thing in our school where in 5th grade, you are allowed this second semester to sit anywhere. And it's causing that anxiety early for the kid and the parent.
Yeah.
But I do think, and most of them have agreed that it's the right thing to kind of get them prepped for next year. when it's a bigger school, it's more kids. And it's a little bit like they need to fix it because some of the kids go in a little bit earlier than the others. So you're already feeling like you're behind if you're the class that's coming in 10 or 15 minutes late. And a lot of the kids are not going to get hot lunch like in the line because they want to bring their lunch so they don't have to get in line and then find a seat. You're not allowed to find a seat before. So all these things are starting to happen where they're changing their behaviors so that way they don't get left out. And
I mean, that just tells you how important it is.
I know. And it's a little heartbreaking that they're dealing with this. But again, the parents are saying like they need to figure this out. This is going to happen. And next year it changes in a big way with more kids and a bigger environment. So like, let's figure this out now. But it is sad because the groups are starting to show the clickiness.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I was even talking to our 15-year-old niece last week who is at a new high school. And I was asking her like how making friends is going. And she was like, really good. I have a couple new friends. And I was like, so what's your strategy? Like you're trying to make a new friend, someone you've never met. Like, what do you go with? Do you go with compliment? Do you go with, she was like, one, I like try to figure out who we're going to have something in common with before I even approach. Like there's a lot of prep work and groundwork that goes into like selecting who I even am going to take a shot with. And I was like, oh, that's kind of interesting.
That is.
And with social and with, the dynamics, like you can do that. So it's like, she's like being very strategic about who she even targets.
Yeah.
And then she's like, I go in with a compliment, but not an obvious one.
I like that.
And I was just like, I did too. I loved it. But I was like, it's
way more strategic than I thought it would be.
Strategic.
Yeah.
It's so strategic.
Mm-hmm.
But she was finding success. And, I was just thinking like, it is a skill. Like all of this is a skill. Even navigating that lunchroom, even finding friends ahead of time to go, hey, can the three of us get hot lunch so we can all sit together?
Yeah. Listen, as long as like our kids aren't leaving people out too. That's the other topic is like, if you have cliquey friends, if you see somebody walking around, invite them over to your table or make sure you are aware of other people's feelings to the point where you can also help out. And like, if somebody is anxiously walking around the room looking for a seat and you see that, be aware of it. 1, 2, make a step to like help out or like make it like come over here, sit with us type of vibe. So I think that's super important. But this happens in adulthood. Like I go to a party where I don't know that many people or like a mom event or anything. And you do get that immediate like feeling when you walk into the room, like, do I know anyone? Scan? Who am I going to talk to? Where am I going to sit? Like it happens every single time. It happened in our work conference last week when we were meeting new people. Yeah. And it's like you and I in a work setting, I think don't have a hard time going around the room and talking to people. But I could see people physically like uncomfortable trying to figure out where they're going and who they're going to talk to. And it's like
one thing that shook me to my core. We had a Galentine's mom event like a week or two ago. And I went and got a drink afterwards with maybe 10. I forget how many people. 10 of us went to the bar after. And all of them were talking about how they wake up and analyze the social situations and like cringe at what they did or didn't say.
That is so funny. I don't do that, but I know a lot of my friends who do. Yeah.
And I just somebody said that and I was like, oh, that's hard.
Yeah.
And then they were like, what? You don't do that? And I was like, wait a second. And we kind of like all looked around. I was like, do you all do that? Every single one of them was like, oh, 100%.
That's
like,
so funny.
The social anxiety almost after the fact of like, I should have asked more questions. Was I talking too much? Or like, why did I say that? That was so silly.
That's a horrible way to live. I have 2 really close girlfriends who do it all the time and they kind of like mock themselves for doing it.
9 out of 10 at this.
That's
I was
crazy.
the only one who did it. They thought I was like an egomaniac or something. I was like,
well, they're not wrong, but it's also like, a happy balance. Well, I will say like I have said and done something dumb where I have thought about it the next day. Like when you've really messed up and you said something that would like called somebody by the wrong name and you should have known them. Like I do sit with that a little bit.
I have a couple of those that have haunted me, but I earned every single one of those.
Yeah.
It's like I actually did something really silly.
Yeah. I had one of those too where I like should have known the mom, but out of context, I couldn't place her. And it was just like so obvious that I didn't place her. And I really tried hard to make it not obvious.
But also,
I'm still sitting with it. That was 4 months ago.
No. Let it go.
Yeah, I'm going to let go. But to do that every time you are socializing, is crazy.
So it got me thinking, how did an entire population get here?
Yeah.
How are we all so uncomfy with each other that we're then analyzing every micro interaction? And like,
yeah.
is that inevitable, or is there a different way to raise these girls where they don't like learn that?
Did you
I
come
don't-
to some conclusion?
No, it's
Yeah.
still left at like a esoteric level, but I was shook. I honestly was like, I couldn't believe it. I figured
think-
some people did that, but the order of magnitude of it like really rocked me.
It goes, in my mind, it goes to confidence. And even the most confident people have this imposter syndrome. We've talked about this before, right? Like even if you are super successful in what makes you success, is it business, is it whatever,
Mhm.
those people still have imposter syndrome. So it's really hard to not have a lack of confidence somewhere in your life. But some people just are more confident than others. And I think that's it. It's like trying to raise confident kids to be able to hold their own. And they
Yeah.
are going to have those embarrassing moments. They're going to mess up and say things and going to sit with them for a while. But they need to be confident in themselves that they can walk into a room and talk to anyone and be able to hold their own, right?
Yeah.
Or not sit the next day and analyze, oh, should I or shouldn't I have said this? Or
Well, and like looking at my kids, it's like it does feel like my daughter was choking on something in the lunchroom. Not super much, but she wanted to go to the bathroom to like keep coughing because she was making a scene.
yeah.
And in her tizzy, she accidentally went into the boys' bathroom. Everyone saw her go into the boys' bathroom and started laughing. The whole lunchroom was laughing at her.
Yeah.
Right. And then it was a second and third grade combo. So then another third grade class comes in. And then somebody tells that class that Grace just went into the boys' bathroom. And anyway, she came out. She wanted to die.
The worst. Yeah. The whole room.
She
yeah.
described every point of this. And like her storytelling like had me on the floor. But I was
Yeah.
like, oh, that sounds horrible. I was just like, that's brutal.
yeah.
I was like, did you cry? She was like, I was fighting it. Like I didn't actually let drops fall, but I had a lump in my throat. Like I had
Yeah.
watery eyes.
Aw.
And she was like, and I hate that girl who said that to that third grade class. They didn't even see it. And she
Yeah.
tattled it.
Yeah.
And I just like laughed. And then the next day she's like, I just worry that people are still going to be talking about it. Like it was just, And I said, kids forget. Like you think it's the biggest deal in the world. They're not thinking about you. They thought it was funny for 20 seconds, but they
Yeah.
like you, and they actually probably feel comfortable laughing at you because they know you can handle it.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, you can handle it, right? And they're not even going to remember.
Did they remember?
Well, then she was real nervous going to school the next day. She came home. She goes, no one remembered. And I was
That's
like, good.
Well, and there are
But
things that
would've
you are going
taken
to do.
That would have taken my son down for a month and a half.
True. But then think about it. I know some things like the individuals in high school who did something embarrassing that I still reference today, and I'm about to be 40.
It depends. It depends the scope.
The level of embarrassment. But I do feel for those moments where somebody is like, kids are not forgetting, like that. So how do you get past that? And
Yeah.
it's like, I think just owning it and being confident is the only thing you can do, whether or not you're pretending or fake
Yeah.
it till you make it.
I did
But
read
yeah.
something that girls are their most confident at 9, and then it starts to dip. Isn't that horrible?
I know that because, a lot of the research, but middle school, and I know 9 is a little bit below that, but middle school is the big turn where a lot of parents say they see a shift in, okay, now I got to start doing the norms. Like, what is it? I got to have the water bottle that everybody has. I got to have the bag that everybody has. I don't want to be like the one that calls out for not having this. Obviously, we talked about the phones and social media. It's like middle school is when it starts to happen. That's the lunchroom. That's the lack of confidence walking in and sitting with people.
Yeah.
You start to see the groups of individuals. It's like you just see it from a distance, and it's really it gives you, it's just you want to keep that innocent kid as
Yeah.
long as possible.
I know. But it is inevitable, and all we can do is support them through it
And communicate.
and try to keep that confidence high. But it's tricky.
Yeah.
All
Well,
right.
the last thing I'll say is one of my friends is also 6 foot, played basketball her whole life. And she was one of the moms I went to dinner with. And we had this big conversation because Lola's going to be tall. You and Sarah are tall. And there is a stage, especially around middle school, where you start to feel less confident. You start to shrug your shoulders. You start to whatever, if you're tall or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Because people are calling it out. You're also seeing a difference. And she said the number one thing that got her through was her dad. She said her mom could say anything and it kind of rolled off. Her dad is the one who gave her the confidence to stand up tall. And it's not always the case, but I did love that. I told Phil immediately. I said, you're going to be the one to talk to Lo if she's tall and give her the confidence about, you're beautiful and parent love coming from any side. And I think I might be that one for Ace. It's like the dad and mom role or, parent role is super important. And just us saying things to our kids may not feel like it matters. But the fact that like my 40-year-old friend is telling me that her dad changed her life in middle school is like heartwarming. So it does matter.
And I like, as soon as you say that, I almost choke up thinking of mom going, roll your shoulders back and be proud. If you believe it, they'll believe it.
Yes. Yeah. And it was mom for you. So it's not about like mom or dad, but in her situation, it was dad. And
I think for me, the thing I remember like so vividly is I was 6 foot tall in 6th grade. Like, can you imagine? Like, it's insane. And I was so thin. I was like a skeleton. And I don't mean this in any attractive way.
Yeah.
I mean, all I wanted was boobs. All I wanted was, because that was like everyone's going through puberty. I mean, I looked like a skeleton. And I just remember being like, this is not a good look.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I knew it. I knew it. And this
your pants were a little
social.
shorter because back then they didn't have good outfit choices.
Oh, I had no curves. I just remember being like, man, I can't wait to have boobs and all this stuff. And it's like, I remember how that felt. And to try to have confidence through those years, God help us all,
Listen, and you
Sports
remember
help,
mom saying that.
A couple good friends help.
Yeah.
Parental love helps.
Yeah.
And you got to fight through those years. That's it.
Yeah.
But
and then
I
fast
will say,
forward and everybody wants to be tall. And, a few years later, you do see the other side. It's like, gosh, I wish I was like that,
It's just hard to have any sort of perspective, though, when you're in it. And
100%.
I'm glad I remember how uncomfy that was.
Yeah.
Because it gives me a lot more empathy. But middle school is just tough. It's just tough. Anyway, you slice it or dice it. And I just feel like love, friendships, no social media. Social media is making this way harder.
I agree. It's just a huge no. Even if you have to fight that fight behind the scenes because they think you're awful because you're the parent who said no. Think about the content that those kids are seeing on social media and how much worse it is. The control you have lost to give them content that's not just, beauty tips or this or that, the comparison, the even self-harm, the awful stuff that is served to you. I will be the bad guy for a while if it prevents them from having that.
I feel less strongly about the phone itself because that is a mode of communication. And I don't mind the messaging with friends. I don't mind them taking pictures.
Lock it down.
You got to lock it down. Yeah. Okay. Let's move on here, partially because I got tennis coming up. But what's your obsession?
My obsession is, and I don't know exactly how to say this, it's beautiful and nature or natural, maybe natural put together.
Is this a brand or what are you? I'm so lost.
View natural. Anyways, it's a steamer. It's this handheld steamer from Amazon that is amazing. And the name is like, it's natural. Beauty and natural put together. It's natural. It's awful. Anyways, it was relatively inexpensive and it works so well. And it's even small enough that you could travel with it. And I'm obsessed with it. And I think I told my story a couple months back where I had these like athletic, nicer pants. This was the athletic material that I just put iron in it, and it just melted those pants, sizzled it. I have so much stuff like that. The steamer, game changer, love it.
I'm on Team Steamer. I don't know if it's because we grew up ironing our uniforms,
maybe,
but it's like I have a little PTSD almost from getting that iron out. But it's like I steam what I can. There are some things that you can't steam well enough.
Yeah.
But Team Steamer all the way.
And I just am really sick of paying too much for things.
What a missed opportunity. Team Steam.
Team Steam. All right. Think about it. Be natural. But things that I pay too much for that work just as well as something more inexpensive is a real trigger for me. And I love it. This thing was like maybe $25-$30 and it's great. So
I also like that I can do it in my closet. When I'm getting ready, I don't have to. Well, I don't know. Maybe some people have full ironing boards in their closet, but
I know. I think a lot of people do, but I don't. So I'm with you.
Okay.
All right. What's your obsession?
I know you're going to be so excited about my obsessions because they're both books. My week of blob was no, scratch that. My
Try
week
again.
of blob rose.
I thought you were going to say Riz. I was like, oh, no.
No, I wasn't trying to be cool. Improved. That was way better because of 2 books I read. I could not have been a bigger, like I was out at this fun event in San Francisco. All I wanted to do was go home and finish my book.
Oh my
That's
gosh.
how good these books were.
Okay.
One was the 3rd installment of the Fourth Wing Imperium series. It is a dragon romantasy.
Mm-hmm.
Hate it. Don't hate it till you try it. And this is going to be tough. ONYX, the color black, Onyx.
Onyx, I think, right?
Onyx.
Yeah, I think Onyx.
Okay, let's go with it. Onyx Storm. So good. Couldn't put it down. So fun. So sexy. So worry. Like
Okay.
lots going on.
Yeah.
And then I think I read one of my favorite books of the year, Wedding People. Just finished it.
Okay.
Literally came home from a social event, stayed up to finish it. I couldn't stop thinking about it.
Give like the 30-second, maybe 20-second. What is it about?
Of Wedding People.
Yeah.
Couple at the end of their marriage, she is considering ending her life.
Oh.
Goes to a fancy hotel to kill herself.
Oh my gosh.
And somehow gets intertwined with all the people at this wedding. So I don't think this is too big of a spoiler. She doesn't. But just like her relationships with all these funny people at the wedding, the bride, the groom, and it is so fun to read because all these people are so interesting.
Okay.
And just like she's likable.
Okay.
You feel for her, and then she kind of, and there's like a good triumph arc, I would say, at the end. But it just had all the feels.
Yeah.
So I know it might sound dark, but it actually was quite funny.
Okay. Yeah. You started off where I was like, whoa, okay.
I know. Well, it's hard to tell that story synopsis without that important detail, but
hard to tell in 20 seconds because you didn't nail that in 20 seconds. But I understand why now. I understand.
Okay. Yeah. Well, anyways, it's a great read. One of my favorite books of the year.
Okay.
There you have it.
Love that. All right.
Okay.
Good obsessions. Well, that's a wrap for today, baby.
All right. I got to go play some tennis.
Yeah. Have fun doing tennis. And I got to go wrangle the kids because we're off school yet again.
I know. Chris is watching them this morning, and then I'm watching them all afternoon. So we're ships passing in the night.
That's our trade as well. So.
All right. Love you, Tam.
Bye, Liz.
Bye, Liz.